Hey, good morning, Peninsula Grace. Before we jump into our reading devotional for this morning, I want to give you a quick update about the status of these videos going forward. We're going to be changing the pace up a little bit. This will be our final week of producing daily videos. After that, it's probably going to be reduced down to just once a week. These were always meant to be a temporary measure by which the elders served the body through the ministry of the word during these unusual months. But now that the restrictions are being lessened, we're going to change up the pacing. We still think they've been valuable and we've seen them produce fruit. So we're going to keep them, but they're going to be less frequent. So that's that update. Now on to our reading for this morning. Today, or on Monday, we read Matthew chapter 16 verses 1 through 4, and there we saw Jesus interact with some doubting and skeptical Pharisees. And if you're like me, you can really identify with Jesus. Maybe you have had an interaction with those who doubt and are skeptical of who Jesus claims to be. And I think we can learn a lot from Jesus's response to them as we interact with our own doubting and skeptical friends and family members. And Jesus here, he points these doubters to the sign of Jonah. He says, no sign's going to be given to you. I'm not going to give you extra proof or evidence. But except for the sign of Jonah. Now you may be wondering, okay, what the heck is the sign of Jonah? How does a story about a prophet who gets swallowed by a fish have anything to do with Jesus? Well, we see that connection in our reading today for this morning. Jonah chapter 3, verses 6 through 4:11. And there we see in Jonah a unique prophet among all the other prophets, for he was sent to the Ninevites, the Gentiles, not the covenant people of Israel like all the rest of Israel. But before proclaiming God's word to the Gentiles, he went down into the watery depths for 3 days and sat in the belly of a giant fish. But God preserved his life, and on the third day brought him back from this watery grave so that he could complete his mission and preach the gospel to the wicked Gentile Ninevites. Do you see the connection here that Jesus is making between himself and this ancient Israelite prophet? Just as Jonah would go down into darkness and the depths of darkness in the belly of the fish, so Jesus would go down into the depths of the grave and face death, and then be raised again 3 days later to extend the gospel to the Gentiles, yet not just to just one city, Nineveh, but to the entire world. And this is in fact what we see Matthew pointing to in the end of chapter 15, which Justin walked us through, how the gospel that was proclaimed to the Jews would be extended to the Gentiles as well. And so Jesus is confirming this by pointing to Jonah. There would be a new prophet like Jonah who would come and face death, yet be raised again. Yet this new Jonah would not just face death and be spared from it. He would actually experience death. Yet he would not experience death for his own sin, like Jonah's rebellion, but would experience death for our sin. And he would not be spared from death like Jonah was. He would experience it and then be raised out of full and total death, thereby defeating death permanently, not just temporarily staying God's wrath. This is the sign that's given to us. This is the sign that's given to doubters. And this is the sign that our skeptical friends and family members need to wrestle with and grapple with. We can put forth, not scrambling or manufacturing new signs or new evidence, but put forth these essential elements of the person and work of Christ. And we can go forward pointing to this sign. Have a great day. Go forth in humble boldness, church. Have a great Wednesday. Bye.